Now, if you have ever been to downtown Miami, you have probably seen a building called the Freedom Tower. It's right there. And it is a National Historic Landmark. It was built for a newspaper, but famously housed the processing center for hundreds of thousands of Cubans arriving in Miami after fleeing communism and misery there. And now it is set to be the next door neighbor of the Donald J. Trump Presidential Library and Museum. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has proposed this site for the library, and a state board is meeting later this month to approve the selection. He joins us now with the details from the free state of Florida, my state. Governor, good to have you. Thank you.
Yeah, Sean, I was thinking about this, and this is something that resonates with you. Donald Trump's library, in many ways, was a natural fit for New York City, given his history there, given how he became famous in real estate and The Apprentice and all this stuff. And yet they treated him horribly. Political indictment. You have the Letitia James trying to do a civil case to try to bankrupt them. That was all for politics. And then you've seen the city really take a downward spiral, and people like you have fled to the free state of Florida. So I think the fact that we have it in Florida is really a testament to, we appreciate what the president's done for the country, but we're also a state that is on the rise. And that's a place you're going to want to have that library right down there in Miami.
Yeah, well, buckle up. If commie Marxist Mamdani gets elected, another wave of New Yorkers will be exiting the city, and Wall Street South, which is very real right now, will even be that much bigger. Let's get your analysis of the president at the UN today. I'm not a big fan of the UN. I wouldn't care if they sent it off to China myself.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've been in favor of defunding the UN for a long time. I think Congress should do that. I think it's a totally corrupt and feckless body. And I think it was refreshing that the president went there in front of a generally hostile body and told the truth and told them why they were wrong, told them why their open borders globalism has failed, how their green energy obsession has failed. And he talked about what good policies mean for America first. So I agree with you. I thought it was one of the best speeches he's given on international affairs. I bet you a lot of those people in that audience may not have liked it, but it was the right message, and they needed to hear it.
What do you think of he's played a role in 7 countries' conflicts coming to an end. He's pushing hard to bring an end to a conflict in the Middle East. I think Israel has every right to finish the job. They've had hundreds of thousands of rockets, terror tunnels. What happened on October 7th, they can no longer withstand rockets being fired from the north, south, the Houthis, or anybody else. Finish the job against radical Islamism, and then hopefully maybe a new era there. But more importantly, now he's going after Putin. He gave Putin every opportunity to come to the table, negotiate a deal. Now he's going to bankrupt him. And why do I believe he'll be successful?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, he really has tried to use diplomacy and to come to agreements, even with people that are very much opposite U.S. interests. And you saw that with Iran, and it was clear that that wasn't going to happen. And so then he had an opportunity to deliver a devastating strike, and he took it. And it was swift, and it was significant. And I think you're seeing the same thing, maybe not military, but I think that Vladimir Putin does not want to bring an end to this. I think that's very clear. I think the president's patience has worn thin, and I think he's ready to ratchet up the pressure. But part of that is the Europeans doing their part. They haven't historically. They're doing a little bit more militarily, but as you pointed out in the previous interview, they're buying a lot of energy from Russia. So I think he was right to call that out.
Oh, my. That's so
I mean, it's
stupid.
just, they're the ones that will always come to us saying we need to send more money over there because it's such a threat to the European continent. And if that's true, then why are you buying this energy from them? So I think that this is going in a direction where the president's going to use the levers at his disposal to help engineer a positive outcome for the U.S. and our Western allies.
That's why he famously gave then-Chancellor Angela Merkel the white flag of surrender. What's this for? Well, you're helping to make Putin rich. You're funding his war machine. Not a good idea. Governor, great to see you. Thank you. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.